Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting a full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Muhammad. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight on the card, we have in the welterweight division, Jason Witt versus Matthew Semelsberger. So looking at this fight right here, this one's really cut and dry right here. I think Witt's like he's more technical, he's more experienced as far as striking, overall game, but I don't think his edge in technique and experience is big enough as the size and youth and power of Semelsberger. And Semelsberger is the better wrestler, was a standout athlete in like 3-4 sports like lacrosse, football, and wrestling. I've been wrestling since he was 10 or 11, 10, 9, 8. Basically his whole life, basically. So it's not like he's some guy that just came off a football field or came off a lacrosse field or came on the street and tried to do so. His wrestling's up there. Is he like a NCAA champion or super stud like that? No, but definitely gets on a much higher level than Witt and a much understanding, and also with strength, youth. That's gonna be a factor. And I don't think Witt can really dominate in that area or have success in that area. Maybe unless he, outsmarts him, or not say outsmarts him, but like catch him off guard or something. And that's really what's going to be. Witt's going to have to really rely on those small margins to have success, and I don't think he's going to be able to capitalize, in my opinion. I just think that Semelsberger's power will be a factor, size will be a factor, and Semelsberger has shown to be able to push at a high pace for 3 rounds, so his cardio is not an issue. And Witt's not a power puncher. And we have, at least looking at Semelsberger, he's been knocked out at least 2 or 3 times. Well, once in amateur, I think once in the pro, but like twice. So, and I don't think Witt has that power. And I think Semelsberger has also got a lot better since then. And also he's fighting at a smaller weight class. I think he fought at like light heavyweight when he got knocked out, or heavyweight. Now he's at welterweight, so they only have the power to, or at least at this level, to really put him out. Maybe a higher level welterweight, but not Witt, because Witt's not really a heavy puncher either. But either way, I see this one is that Semelsberger, bigger, younger, stronger, faster, better wrestler, more power. Witt might be a little bit more technical striker or technical grappler, but not enough to really apply it successfully to get a victory. So I just think Semelsberger will be bigger, stronger, and controlling the pace of this fight, landing the heavier shots, and I think he beats Witt to a decision. So in this one, I have Matthew Semelsberger via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Jinh Frey versus Gloria De Paula. So look at Jinh Frey. I think she's more experienced. She's been a champion for some high caliber opponents, but her grappling has always been an issue. And I think Gloria De Paula's grappling has been an issue for her as well. If she fought like a high pressure grappling type fighter that could put her on the ground and shut down some of her submission game, but at least off her back, she's more active than Jinh Frey. Yeah, she's more active than Jinh Frey. She'll attack for submissions off her back, whereas Jinh Frey kind of like a dead fish on her back a lot of times. But really to get to the point when both these guys, both these women had kind of have issues if they fought a pressure grappler, they would have issues, but neither of them are pressure grapplers, so it's gonna be a striking match. And De Paula's taller, longer, and she's better in the clinch. I think her activity is higher. She has heavier hands than Jinh Frey and better defense. So what I see in this one, definitely in the clinches we saw in her last fight against Loma Lookboonmee. I'm not saying De Paula has as good as Muay is Loma Lookboonmee, but with her height, her size, and her frame, she has enough to, do a similar thing to Frey, if not more damage than Loma Lookboonmee did, because Loma Lookboonmee is really like she should be at 98 pounds fighting in that weight class, because she's real small, tiny, even at the smallest weight class in the UFC. So unless maybe she hit puberty or something and get taller, but she's very undersized. But De Paula is bigger, longer, and I think she's going to be able to really bully Jinh Frey in that clinch. I don't think she stops her, but I think she should have a semi-dominant, or I'm going to say a dominant decision over Jinh Frey. So in this one, I have Gloria De Paula via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Courtney Casey versus JJ Aldrich. So looking at this fight, you might start to lean against Casey because she's 9-8, damn near 500. And anytime she's seen to fight somebody decent, she loses. But the thing you look at with Courtney Casey is that when she's not fighting somebody that's taking her down, she's a threat to anyone in this division. And she's the very best or champion level on the feet. No, but literally anyone. She could fight Weili Zhang, and I'll say if it was just a striking fight, she would give Weili Zhang a hard fight. I'm not saying she would stop her. She would beat her, or definitely not stop her, but she would at least be in there for a couple rounds and make Weili Zhang have to really dig into fight, get into the driver's seat, really fight her. Not just go out there, one punch knock her out, or just make her miss and look like God mode and destroy her, but it'd be like a real competitive fight. But yeah, so, all I'm saying on the feet, Courtney Casey has shown to be a threat, and she does got some decent jiu-jitsu, but a lot of times it's just here or there. Or when it's not gets set up, gets neutralized, she's dead on the ground. And again, gets set up to submit herself. But going against JD Aldrich, I'll say Aldrich has much better takedown defense and defensive grappler than Casey, but I see this one more as a striking matchup. And Aldrich, I think, has only the most takedowns she ever scored in the fight was about 2. I think the most she ever attempted was 3. And on average, if she does go for a takedown, it's like 1. She'll score. So I don't see this fight going to the ground very much by either woman. And I think I see Courtney Casey as the bigger, stronger, longer fighter between the two, the heavier hitter. I think Aldrich is a more technical, cleaner striker. But with Courtney Casey, I think her size and power and aggression and pressure is going to factor over Aldrich, maybe landing at a higher percentage rate, but Casey's going to land a higher volume, and she's going to land the heavier shots. And maybe Aldrich will land more shots, but I think Casey's going to land the heavier shots, being the bigger woman, being the heavier hitter. She's going to land those heavier shots, and that's going to do more damage, and she's going to be able to muscle the smaller Aldrich around the cage. And so that forward pressure, the control in the power shots is going to lean Casey to get a decision. So in this one, I got Courtney Casey via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the 155 division, the lightweight division, Nasrat Haqparast versus Rafael Garcia. So Haqparast versus Garcia. This is a pretty interesting matchup, and this guy pretty much came in this fight not out of nowhere. He's been fighting for a good little minute, but the fact that they just introduced him and then throw him in against Haqparast on like short notice. This is a very interesting matchup. But how I see this one, Garcia definitely has some slick jiu-jitsu, good roll-rounding game, strength. He has just about everything you need, but he doesn't have the experience at this level. And I think that's just going to be the case. Haqparast has solid takedown defense, should be able to keep us on the feet. On the feet, I think Haqparast is, not to say that Garcia isn't a technical or clean striker. He's not no world beater on the feet, but definitely nobody to play with. But Haqparast's hands are just much faster. He's clearly the more technical striker. And he'll find those gaps in Garcia's game, be able to touch him over the top, touch him around, touch him the body, chew up the legs, and really just stuff the grabbing attempts of Garcia. And just butcher him on the feet almost. I'm not saying like he's going to just walk through him, but I'm also saying he might probably going to walk through him just for the fact that he's just a more polished fighter, in my opinion, overall. And I think that's going to be the case where he would stuff takedown, land shots, and pepper up Garcia. Might come to a stoppage, near a stoppage in the first or second, or both. But I think Garcia's heart will be able to dig him deep and be able to get through those rounds and get through the third. But decently competitive fight, but Haqparast fully in the driver's seat, landing the cleaner shots and controlling the full pace of this fight. So in this one, I have Nasrat Haqparast via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Yahya versus Ray Rodriguez. And this one is just tailor-made for Yahya. Rodriguez not no real big threat on the feet. He got some power, but that's about it. Submission game, it definitely needs a lot of work. Been submitted by a lot of guys that he shouldn't be getting submitted by. And a lot of them not even that far in the past. Now you're going against by far the best grappler you have ever fought. World champion, multiple time world champion Yahya. I think Yahya's going to do his little BJJ slap boxing like I like to do. Like he's been working on the striking a lot and definitely made some improvements. But really, in most cases, it's going to be the striking just going to be there to get Rodriguez's attention for just enough for him to take him down and submit him in that first round. So in this fight, I have Yahya via first round submission. First round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Jourdain versus Marcelo Rojo. And really looking at this one, I just think, really looking at Rojo, I was not really impressed with anything he does. I don't think he's a UFC caliber talent. I mean, maybe at the lower end, maybe he could find one fight, or maybe here and there he might find a matchup. But even then, I'm like, you're really struggling and picking at straws to find a person he could really beat in the UFC. His striking defense really isn't the best. Not the fastest fighter. Grappling needs a lot of work. And yeah, he just needs a lot of work. I'm not saying he's never going to be in the UFC. Well, he's in the UFC now. I'm not saying he's going to be UFC caliber. Like, as long as you're fighting and training, trying to get better, you can get there. But what I'm saying from him, I'm not impressed. And I think Jourdain's going to be much faster than him, much sharper than him. And I think he can beat him out any way he wants to beat him. I think he can out-wrestle him all day, he can out-strike him all day. And I just think he picks him apart and puts him away in the second round. So in this one, I got Jourdain via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the women's flyweight division. Not strawweight division, I'm saying flyweight. Strawweight division. Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. And these two fought in the past before. They both made improvements. Hill beat her by a narrow decision the last time they fought. But now, like I said, they both made improvements. I think Yoder made some improvements to her striking and to her setups to takedowns. You know, she hasn't had the most successful takedowns even now. But she's, like I said, she's been involved again. I think more so it's been her striking she's evolved. And Angela Hill involved her striking some, especially her takedown defense and her overall MMA game. Matter of fact, every single part of Angela Hill's game has been evolved. Like, she's gotten better. Her striking was already good, but now her submission game, the defense game got better. Her submission offense game got better. Her grappling, her control, her takedowns, her wrestling, everything got better. Whereas I felt like Yoder, she made some improvements to her striking. But it's a simple case that really the only thing that gave Hill issues with Yoder in the last fight was her wrestling. And I don't think any improvements to her striking is going to cause Hill any issues. And I feel like Hill should be able to stuff Yoder's takedowns. If she even gets a takedown, Hill will be able to scramble back up. Then on the feet, she's much faster, much sharper, far more tools, far more variety, far better fluidity. I think she just really puts on a clinic on Hill on Yoder on the feet. And also chews up that leg. Now that we know that Yoder doesn't really check leg kicks, be to chew that lead leg up, then chew the body up, pepper up, and really, like I said, look clean, look clinical out there, and beat Yoder to a decision. So in this one, I have Angela Hill via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our first fight on the main card at middleweight, Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart. So looking at this fight right here, I feel this. Really to like cut and dry, I just feel like Eryk Anders he has plateaued and has been plateaued basically since he got in the UFC. Maybe the first year, 2-3 years in the UFC. Since then he's been plateaued. I have to say that. If not the very moment he stepped in the UFC, he already plateaued. Maybe it's his level of had already been plateaued, and then it was enough to get him some wins. But when people realize it's not, I'm just keep saying the same thing from the guy, then they started to realize, but just quote onto it. But either way, I feel like it's the same thing. He's big, he's powerful. He sure can beat a lot of people just with the fact that he's strong, got good hips, good athlete, he can defend takedowns, keep it on the feet. And a lot of guys in MMA can't really strike. So even with the basic fundamentals and some power, you can pressure them, land a big shot. And a lot of guys are going to go straight back. And they'd be, in a way, be easy money for a guy that would like him that has that size, that strength, keep it on the feet, land the heavier shots, and just push you back with, the very basic fundamentals. And not even the best of fundamentals. Just like a 1-2, maybe overhand, maybe hook, some little kicks here and there. But yeah, like the very basic fundamentals. Not going against Darren Stewart. I think Darren Stewart going to take advantage of the fact that Eryk Anders doesn't really defend leg kicks the best. Like tear his leg up and take away what the base he has to even land heavy shots. And then when that's not there, he's going to be able to start to counter him more. When that leg is compromised, his time's going to be off, his power's going to be off, and then he'll be an easier target. And then maybe even try to go for some takedowns. Just really work on Anders, give him different looks, where Anders is going to be given the same exact look. So just be diverse out there, but really first take away, the only danger threat you really got with him is, the power. Just take the power away from him. And once that's not there, that's gone. And then from there, start to land your own strikes and start unloading. I don't need to put Anders away because Anders has shown phenomenal heart, but I think it's a case where he just takes his base away from him, and then starts to land clean on him, start to let his own arsenal, his own strikes go more, and I think he beats Anders to a decision. So in this one, I have Darren Stewart via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Matheus Nicolau versus Manuel Kape, and how I see this one right here is Nicolau feels is a more well-rounded fighter, though Kape, don't sleep on his well-roundedness. His BJJ is much better than people give him credit. Wrestling, definitely big underrated. Striking, sometimes might not look like the most cleanest technical striker. Very good eye, good time, good athleticism, good reads. Very solid fighter out there. So Kape could definitely find his opportunities in this fight. Definitely could win this one, but I'm going to lean to Nicolau in this one for the fact that I would say there's no ifs and or buts. His BJJ is better. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's a more well-rounded fighter, and he's the more active fighter. I think that's another big factor. And I feel like Kape, with Nicolau, I feel like Nicolau falls into the pattern. He has slick balls and slick head movement and solid BJJ. Good kicks as well. But he kind of falls in the pattern. He likes to do the same little roll, duck under roll, and kind of do the same exact thing over and over. Like he just drilling instead of actual live fight where elements change. And that's how you can get caught, because you keep doing the same thing with every single person you fight. And I feel like Kape can pick on up to that. I mean, yeah, he could pick up on that in time and knock him out. But I feel like what's more going to be the case is with Kape factoring or worrying about the grappling of Nicolau and the other tools of Nicolau, it's going to be a case where he's going to be trying to find that one big shot and not being active just like he was in his first fight. It was a close fight. Maybe he could have won it, but the fact that you're leaning on, not putting the fight away, and you're trying to find that perfect opportunity instead of just fighting and just trying to land clean shots, and fighting this limited game where you're trying to wait for stuff, that's going to cause you to lose decisions in the 3-round fight and even 5-round fights. I think it's going to come out of the fact that Nicolau is going to be the more aggressive fighter, the more active fighter, land more shots, maybe score a takedown, maybe get some control here and there, but really it's all going to come out to the fact that he's been more active and Kape was not. And after Kape's first fight, I'm trying to see something different. As far as in the UFC, I can't really lean to him on this one, so I'm going to lean to Nicolau to be able to beat him just by working him in this one. So in this fight, I have Matheus Nicolau via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jonathan Martinez versus Davy Grant. And very interesting matchup here. Very, very interesting matchup right here. But what I see this one is Davy Grant, I would say technically he's the better striker. He's really technically better than a lot of strikers in this division, in this sport. But definitely kind of aging a little bit. His jiu-jitsu needs some work. But I feel like it's going to be paces that's going to beat Grant in this one. I think Martinez fights at a higher pace. A little bit better in the clinch. A little smidgen bit better in the clinch. And better in those physical exchanges than Grant. Especially if he can get some takedowns on Grant in this one. Definitely he's going to look for a takedown or two in this one against Grant. But it's really going to come down just to the pace, the freshness, and the activity. But a very tight fight. But Martinez getting his hand raised. So in this one, I have Jonathan Martinez via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the 145 division, the featherweight division, Dan Ige versus Gavin Tucker. And this is a very solid matchup right here. And this fight has fireworks written all over it. And really looking at it now, Tucker only has 1 loss. And at one point he was this undefeated prospect and then lost to Rick Glenn, and now he rebounded. And he's not the youngest spring chick. I think he's actually like 35 or 36 or 37. He's kind of up there in age. He still looks fresh, still looks youthful, and still getting better. And he's looking like the guy we expected him to be. And he did look like that guy when he first came to UFC in the first fight. But then the Rick Glenn fight really halted his career and froze him in place, and he came back and got better. And now he's back to looking like that guy again. Now going against Dan Ige. I think Ige packs more power. I think Ige has better BJJ. But I think Tucker blends his full skill set together better. I think his hands are faster. His boxing is much slicker. Arsenal on the feet, much more diverse. Much more versatile on there. Better angles, better foot movement. Just overall a better striker than Ige. Like I said, Ige packs more power. But a lot of times he'll be loading up on those strikes. Tucker's slicker, better head movement. I think he can outbox and put a boxing clinic on Ige on the feet, or Ige on the feet. I think he could set up some takedowns on Ige, get some top control, but not play around it too much, because that's where Ige has an advantage. But really, I have to see him sticking and moving, put it on the boxing clinic on Ige, and at times mixing in the takedowns, just throw Ige off. Ige occasionally lands some big heavy shots here and there, but not enough. But Tucker, like I said, being in full control of that striking, full control of that boxing match, full control of that, and controlling the pace. With the better setups, more fluidity, better control of range, control of timing, control of pace. That's what's going to win the fight for him. Like I said, Tucker might have the power, but you can't really land. I mean, Ige might have the power, but you can't land the power consistently or on the money. And you're not going to win the fight unless you're getting outboxed. Jiu-jitsu, you have kind of jiu-jitsu advantage, but you can't put it in positions to get that jiu-jitsu going. You're not going to win the fight. And also, Ige is a slow starter, has always been. So that's going to allow Tucker to get off on a good early start. And then you put Ige behind and make him have to force himself to try to get stuff like he does in fights. In other fights, he has been able to force things and get himself back in the fight and then come back rally. But Tucker, I feel like Tucker's going, once he has him in that driver's seat, once he's in that driver's seat, he's not getting out of it. And he's not going to allow Ige to force his way back in. And matter of fact, when Ige tries to force stuff, it's going to leave him open to counters and just make Tucker look even better and allow Tucker to beat him even cleaner onto a decision. So in this one, I got Gavin Tucker via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Misha Cirkunov versus Ryan Spann. So I'm looking at this fight right here. These both guys have a lot of similarities. Both talented. Both had like what 2 losses that were in under a minute via knockout. Both grapplers. I think Spann is the bigger, taller, younger fighter, more powerful striker. And you could, I was first off gonna lean to, let me see. He's bigger. They're both grapplers, so that can kind of neutralize that out at some points. But the fact that Ryan Spann's bigger, younger, better striker, or at least a heavier hand and more dangerous striker, and his grappling neutral, he could potentially knock Cirkunov out if this fight stays on the feet. But when I look at this fight, it's a tight matchup, and I feel more than likely it's going to go later than maybe a first round or 2 rounds. It'll probably go into the 3rd round for sure. Definitely 2nd round. And Ryan Spann is a fighter that, as the fight goes on, he gets weaker. Where Cirkunov has been able to show in the pace and at times get better as the fight goes on. Like he starts to get in his groove with Spann. In a tight matchup, it's a guy who can dig deeper, and I think it's Cirkunov. And I think Cirkunov, has a higher pace. I mean, he does have a higher pace. And really looking at all the stats, he has beat him in every single stat area except height and reach and age. He had an edge on Cirkunov, and I mean, he had an edge on Spann and like strikes landed per minute, accuracy, defense, wrestling takedowns, successive takedowns, takedown defense, every single area, like stat all down the board. He had better stats than Ryan Spann. So that's another fact. So he can go deeper. I mean, yeah, he could dig deeper, and he can outwork Spann. He can dig deeper. He can outwork Spann, and more polished than Spann. I say Spann. I mean Stan, but Spann. But either way, I see this one. I feel like this one's definitely gonna go past the first round. Spann's definitely gonna start to deteriorate or start to fall. You know, his pace gonna start to drop. He's gonna start to get worse as the rounds go on, and Cirkunov's gonna get stronger. And that's gonna be the case. And I feel Cirkunov's gonna go in the case where he's gonna try to, he might not get the takedown. He's gonna try to make this fight smothering and drain Spann, who has, like I said, historically gets weaker as the fight goes on. Historically gets weaker as the fight goes on. Just and make him fight a tiring fight early on, and really the whole fight just try to be up underneath him and drain him. Try to go for that. You don't get the takedowns. That's forces to clinch, land body shot, knees to the body. Try to get the takedown. Might not even get in the first round, but that 2nd round, I feel like he definitely would get the takedown. 3rd round, definitely get the takedown. Start landing on ground and pound. Try to set your own transitions up, and then drain Spann. I think he fight. It's gonna be a very fatiguing, tiring, not the prettiest fight, but he's gonna do what needs to be done to beat Spann in this one in a veteran type way, just smothering him and forcing him to work, draining him, and taking away his threats. And I think he beats him to a decision. So in this one, I have Misha Cirkunov via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the welterweight division, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. So interesting matchup right here. You got a striker. It's MMA. It's mixed martial arts at this point, where everyone's an MMA fighter at this point in MMA. It's not really no purists anymore, so everybody can do everything. Some guys pick a style where they do this better than everything else they do. But in this match, I would say, well, I think Belal Muhammad strikes more than he wrestles, but for this thing, I'm going to say he's a wrestler versus a striker. But I see this one is, this is not the easiest matchup for Leon Edwards to take coming off of that long layoff for like probably 2 years now, maybe more, but definitely more than a year, probably at least coming upon 2 years, if not 2 or 3. But hasn't been very active. Been trying to find matchups and this legal, that. Fights falling out because of COVID. But Edwards versus Muhammad, how I see this one going. I think Muhammad's going to be trying to put him in the clinch. He's going to try to make him embrace the grind and be in his face, be up under his nose the whole fight. That's where he wants to be against Edwards. I think at distance, Edwards is too fast, too sharp, too dangerous, too versatile for Muhammad. And I think the issue with Muhammad is like he's going to want to be up close, and I think he will be better up close, trying to go for takedowns, trying to be up underneath him, try to be in his face and make him work the whole time. You got a guy that hasn't fought in a long time, and you're a pace cardio type fighter, and you're going to try to, see if you're going to test him. Like, can you really go as hard as I can go for as long as I go, like for these 3 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds. It was a 5-round fight, but like I went in for 3 rounds, but that's what it's going to be a case of. And Edwards has some solid takedown offense, but I don't think it's so phenomenal. It's more so he can scramble. He's good in the clinch. And I was going to say another thing about Muhammad. Muhammad's going to want to be there, but Edwards is also pretty solid in that up close range. So unlike Diego Lima or some of the other guys that Belal Muhammad have fought, who inside really don't have nothing there, when he's trying to come inside against Edwards, he's going to be met with knees. He's going to be met with punches. And Edwards is not afraid of those strikes because he knows he can get up. He knows he can scramble. He knows his wrestling defense is pretty solid. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to be timid and freeze up his strikes just because you're trying to go for takedowns on him. He's going to let his strikes go, probably time you. And he's going to be more willing to, like, say you're trying to duck under and you're telegraphing. He's going to be more willing to go flying knees because he knows he can get up. I'm not saying he's going to be doing all day just throwing strikes just to throw them. And like some fighters, they don't have no care in the world. They get throw a flying knee, end up on their back. They be on their back for 5-10 minutes, the whole fight. But like I said, he can get up. And he's actually going to set up, not just throw stuff out there, just hoping and willing. He's going to see something, he's going to go for it. That's all I'm saying. And then on the inside, Muhammad's going to be met with elbows, knees. And I say Edwards will get the better of the clinch. But sometimes the judges might lean one way. That's going to make it close. Just for the fact that Muhammad might have the control. He'll have him against cage. But against the cage, he could be able to be met with knees to the sternum, elbows to the temple, get punched in his nose, knees to his chest, knees to his chin, knees to his forehead, knee to his eyeball. But the fact that he's be on him like glue, the judges sometimes favor that over the activity. But I feel like Edwards going to really differentiate himself and get that distance on the scorecard, and is at distance. He's going to be able to land those shots in the clinch. Then eventually that's going to start to wear on Muhammad, chew up Muhammad's leg. As we saw in the Lima fight, he didn't defend the best. Even being on Lima, literally all 15 minutes of that fight, Lima was able to do significant damage to his leg, where Bilal Muhammad didn't really do no damage to Lima outside of fatiguing him. But Lima was able to really dig in his leg. He only do like 5 leg kicks, was able to dig in his leg. I feel like Edwards going to be able to do even more damage. Maybe not with his little kicks, but with more kicks, he's going to be doing a similar amount of damage. That distance, he'll be too versatile, too long, and be able to really pick apart Bilal Muhammad at distance. That's where he's going to pile up his points. And then clinch, be landing elbows, landing knees. He might score his own takedown here and there because Edwards has some sneaky takedowns. So when Bilal Muhammad starts getting too much into a pattern, he's going to draw off his pattern, set something up different, get a takedown here, maybe in the middle rounds, and then get some of his own control. Like I said, butcher him up in the clinch, even though he's against the cage. And then eventually he'll start to wear on Muhammad, be the circle off, and then put Muhammad against the cage, start letting his own strikes go. Very tight fight, but in those spaces, when he creates those opportunities, Edwards going to be put up significant points, significant damage. Maybe even drop Muhammad in the 4th round with a head kick or 3rd round with a head kick, but Muhammad's going to be the toughest way in and make it to a decision. But real tight, real gritty fight. But Edwards been able to find that distance in these pockets and land clean shots, and in the clinch, land elbows, and the scramble ability to get back to his feet. He's going to be able to outwork, or at least outstrike and outland and control the pace of the fight, and land the more significant strikes, land the more telling shots, and be the one leading this fight. So in this fight, I have Leon Edwards via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Muhammad. And as always, thanks for watching.